So our group is talking about the warring states and the unification periods of Japan. There's some overlap. So we're starting off with Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and he participated in the conquest of Japan that was intended to sort of unite the different territories throughout the island. And in the end, he did complete this goal by the end of his life. But before that, he started out as a foot soldier to Oda Nobunaga, who we're going to talk about more a bit later. And then throughout his career working with Oda, he participated in key battles to control central Japan, eventually becoming the Lord of Nagahama due to him being able to overthrow two daimyo. And then he ended up, even after Oda died, he continued conquering efforts until the eventual unification of Japan. But once this did happen, he was put in a place of pretty high power because of his contributions to the effort. And he used this power to enforce prohibition on farmers, merchants, and monks being armed. So this was an attempt to more centralize power and stop like local armies forming and breaking out into rebellion. He also segregated living areas between rigid class divisions, upper class section of the city, more middle class, lower class. And there's the merchant class and the samurai class. And this was just to have a more structured city layout during this time period. And then he also ended road checkpoints with the idea that this would help um, increase the uh, ability to travel between different parts throughout Japan. And he also had a hand in constructing Tsunemata Castle. Um, this isn't the original design, but he had a part in designing it as basically a fortress during his conquest time. It was an area that he had occupied during the war, and so just to make it more sustainable, he had a castle built there, and now it's a different design, but this is where the castle is still standing.
Today I'll be talking about Oda Nobunaga, the Japanese warrior. Oda Nobunaga was born in 1534 in the Owari province and was raised to be a samurai. He established his notoriety initially in 1560, and he used clever battle tactics to fend off a neighboring daimyo from taking over his province in the Owari province. In 1568, Ashikaga Yoshiaki requested his help to drive his enemies out of Kyoto, but Oda, eventually using clever tactics once again, used him in order to dethrone the Ashikaga shogunate completely by 1573. While Oda Nobunaga was a great warrior, he is also known very well for his political presence. As stated before, he used Ashikaga Yoshiaki in his place to make political decisions starting in 1573, after helping him drive enemies out of Kyoto. Once Nobunaga was able to conquer Kyoto in 1572, he fought off the Takeda Shingen in order to fully establish his dominance over both the Ashikaga shogunate as well as the Kyoto area. He supported the Ashikaga shogunate until they proved to have no use and lost their power completely, in which he disposed of Ashikaga Yoshiaki as well as other key members. Oda Nobunaga will be known for his lasting impact on Japanese warfare, as he was the first to introduce firearms into the warfare scene. He also revolutionized battle with his newly formed tactics surrounded by these firearms.
Hello, my name is Noah Bang, and today I'm going to be covering the Ashikaga Yoshimitsu portion of the Chapter 5 presentation. So Yoshimitsu was the third shogun of the Ashikaga era. He ruled as shogun for 50 years, from 1358 to 1408. He's considered to have achieved the most in his reign, which is a big title because there have been several and many shoguns, throughout Japan. And he was even referred to as the King of Japan by the Chinese emperor at that time. So as for his achievements, what he achieved during his reign, he opened and increased trade with China, which is a big one. And probably the biggest one is resolving the pirate issues with Chinese and Japanese trade. This was a huge one because these piracy issues have been increasing over time with pirates between the Chinese and Japanese countries. They were stealing product, stealing a lot of trade value. And because of this situation, the Chinese actually blamed the Japanese people because they believed the pirates were mostly Japanese. Um, and we have this situation where everyone's just pointing fingers, and it's very easy to increase tensions, start a conflict between two countries, and it's just a huge mess of an issue to deal with. But Yoshimitsu was able to resolve this issue by paying his coastal guard more money and ordering them to find these pirates, stop them from ultimately stealing everything. And actually, because of this, he got that title, the King of Japan, from the Chinese emperor, because of this resolving this issue and then increasing trade with China. He also built the Palace of Flowers and the Kinkakuji, which is a gold-covered house. Uh, it'll be covered more in the next slide, just because, as in terms of its appearance, just because it's very beautiful. It's still around today, and it's located in Kyoto. He also brought up No, a folk performance art to the aristocratic class. This is unheard of during this time, just because most theater art were considered as low class by the noble people. Um, so bringing up this kind of folk performance to a very high class was a huge move, um, especially even today, because it's still around today. It's still very popular for the Japanese community. Um, and that's mostly thanks to Yoshimitsu just bringing up this kind of performance to the big names. All right, and then the next slide we see on the bottom left, that is No. We see the traditional clothing they wear and the masks they wear during the performances. And on the top right, we see that Golden Palace, the Kinkakuji. Uh, I wish I had a bigger picture to show just to show the scenery around it, but we can see that the building itself is very beautiful. Um, a popular tourist spot for today, and just very nice to see. And that is all. Thank you for listening to our Chapter 5 presentation, and we hope everyone has a great week. Thank you.